So I sent you 4 more word problems that you could get some practice with in addition to the ones that are in the textbook, and I've given some detailed solutions. But I want to go ahead and at least show you one of them. This one is very similar to the one that is going to be in your on your homework 3-4. So I wanted to kind of do that with you and just give you another example to study. And it breaks it down like this for you on your homework as well. So it says the automotive plant in Rockaway makes the Topaz and the Mustang. Those are Ford cars. I don't think they make Topaz anymore, but they still make Mustangs, obviously. So the plant has a maximum production capacity of 1,200 cars per week. During the spring, a dealer orders up to 600 Topaz cars and 800 Mustangs each week. If the profit on a Topaz is $500 and on a Mustang it is $800, how many of each type should be made to maximize the profit? Okay, so you always begin by identifying your X and your Y. So I'm going to make my X be the Topaz since that was mentioned first. And my Y is going to be the Mustang. Now this one, again, it's common sense, but I always like to list it so it makes sense to you, and it'll do this on your homework as well. It'll say, since you cannot have negative cars, write 2 inequalities to represent the situation. So if X is the number of Topaz cars, the least amount of cars you can make is 0. So the number of Topaz cars will be 0 or higher. And then the same thing for this one, Y or greater for the Mustang. So you know that the X and the Y axis are going to be one of our sets of restrictions, right? So I'm going to go ahead and just fill those in. I know that this is 0, that's going to be a vertical line. And I also know that Y is 0, that's going to be a horizontal line. This is a Hoy and a Vux. So there's one of them. And then here's my other. Oh, here, before I do that, let's go ahead and see. This is a vertical line. This is my Vux. It says greater than 0. Well, if it's a vertical line, the greater than part is on the right side. So that means that the left side is not any possible solution. You can't have a negative number of Topaz cars. And the same thing is true now for the Mustang. So if I draw in the Hoy line, which goes here, you know that the number of Mustangs is going to be higher, greater than, or equal to 0. That's going to be above, not below. So that's going to limit this one. So we know we are being limited by just the fact that all 3 of these other quadrants on a coordinate plane would have some form of a negative car value, whether it's negative X, which is the Topaz, and a positive Y are the Mustangs, or a negative Y, negative number of Mustangs and positive Topaz, or negative of both. Not possible. So we just know that we have to limit it to this region that is both positives. Okay. Now we can get into the rest of the restrictions now that we've kind of already done that. So it says, since the plant has a capacity of 1,200 cars, write an inequality to represent the situation. They don't have enough room to store any more than 1,200 cars that they make at the automotive factory, okay? So the number of total cars, the number of Topaz plus the total number of Mustangs has to be less than or equal to 1,200. They don't have any room for any more than that. So if I subtract, I'm going to get Y is less than or equal to negative X plus 1,200. Okay? All right, so there's another one of our inequalities, which we're going to have to relabel our X and Y axis now to do this. We probably are going to need to go by 200s to make this a little bit easier. So I'm going to come down here and do that. I'll just do a different color. So this will be 200, 400, 600, 800, 1,000, or 1,000 would be 1,000. 1,200, 1,400, 1,600, 1,800. Okay. All right, so if I'm going to graph that one, and the same thing here, I'm going to run out of room though. 1,200, 400, 600, 800, 1,000, 1,200, 1,400, and then 1,800. Okay. So if I graph it, I'm going to go to 1,200, which is going to be here. And the slope is 1/1. It's a little too big. So in the corners, again, and then sketching my line. Okay, so now let's look at what it says. It says less than. So that eliminates this region up here and that little region there. It's got to be somewhere below in that little triangle somewhere. Okay? All right, so then the next one says, the dealer orders up to 600 topaz. Okay, so the number of topazes, X, up to means no more than, must be less than or equal to 600. And the Mustangs are less than or equal to 800, up to those amounts, but no more. Okay, so there's a range there. All right, so let's fill in where those are. So X again is a VUX. That means it's going to be at 600, and it's going to be a vertical line. Vertical line, I did that wrong. Vertical line on the x-axis. So it's going to pass through that. And then look what it says. It says less than. Well, if that's on the x-axis, it's either going to be to the right or to the left, but to the right is greater than 600 topazes. So that's going to limit this one, and now I'm in this other little strange trapezoid-looking region. Then I have to make this one, it's supposed to be a Y, sorry, whoops. Just realized I put another X in there, that's supposed to be a Y. Okay, so this one is a HOI, a horizontal line that passes through 800. 800 is actually located right here. So that line is going to go horizontally this way. And then look again what it says. It says less than. Less than that line is not going to be above it, so that's going to eliminate all this, or even that little sliver. It's going to be, and this little sliver, it's not going to be above it, it's going to be below it. So now I can fill in, it's kind of like a little pentagon. Let's see if we can identify where the vertices are. Write the equation for the profit. Okay, what is this profit? That's the money part, right? So if you go to the money part, okay, so we already had our restrictions. Let's do the money part. Profit on a topaz is 500, a Mustang is 800. So the profit then, P, equals 500X plus 800Y. Okay? And then remember, of course, everything else was our restrictions. Maximum production capacity, that's a restriction. And then up to 600 and 800 Mustangs. Those are your other restrictions. Okay, so I've graphed the constraints. I've identified the feasible region. So my next step is to identify the vertices. So we'll do that. Here's one. Here's one, here's one, here's one, here's one. There's 5, okay? 0, 0. And here's the deal. You don't have to check 0, 0. he's not going to make a profit. The factory's not going to make a profit if they don't sell or make enough cars. So you kind of can just leave that one out since this is a maximum question, okay? This point right here is 600 and 0. That one right there, it looks to be about 400. You know what? I think these are supposed to be in the middle of some lines. Let me see for a minute. I numbered them by 200s. I think they're supposed to be numbered by 100s, but we'll go ahead and try this and see what we get. So this one is 200, 400. I think that one's off, supposed to be off a little bit. But we'll go ahead and do it like it is it. So that's 400, and that would be 800. Is that right? Whoops. Can't see it real well. 800. I think that's really supposed to be off a little bit, but it's kind of hard to see it right now. 400 and 800. And then let's see, this one is 0 and 800. And then that one right there is 600, 600. It might be slightly off because of how I numbered it than it is on your sheet. Your sheet might be 500. We'll look at that in a minute. So again, I will be able to use a calculator because I'm going to be doing some pretty large calculations here. So for the first one, they didn't make any Mustangs, so that eliminates. 500 and 600, that's going to multiply to make $300,000 if that's what they make. For the next one, it's going to be 400 for each one. Make 400 topazes. Oh, I'm sorry, 400 topazes and 800 Mustangs. That's going to be 200,000, and that's going to be another. Ooh, that's going to be a lot. That's going to be, let's see, I have 500 times 400. That's 200,000 plus. That's going to be 640,000. 8 times 8, 64. Whew, that's $840,000 for that one. That looks to be the one we want. But let's try the others. 0 topazes and 800 Mustangs. Get you close, but not as close as the other one. That's only 640,000. All right, and then let me do one more. What if we made 600 of each one? So 500 times 600 plus 800 times 600. Sorry, my phone going off. So that's going to be 300,000, and that's going to be 480,000. So that's not going to get me above the other one. 300,000 plus 480,000, that is 780,000. So you should be able to see that this one wins as maximizing the profit. So they need to make 400 Topaz cars and 800 Mustangs. That will maximize the profit for the factory. Okay? It might be slightly off on your homework based upon how I numbered the graph, but it shouldn't be too far off. So that gives you another example, very similar. They're going to break it down like that for you on your homework as well, so that'll help. But you've got 3 other examples with solutions that you can check and try some more examples with on this one. I think it would be wise. These are kind of tend to be trickier word problems, so it might be a good idea to at least try 1 or 2, and then you can look at the answer keys and see how I got the answers, okay? So hope that's everything. Have a good week. Sorry I missed class today. Hope that you're able to understand from this, but we will do the math lab on Friday if you need extra help. Thanks. Bye.